Hi everybody. I want to welcome everyone to HSA 1102 Introduction to Healthcare. Each week I will do a review of the coursework. I will go over the rubric of how you will be graded, as well as talk to you about some of the things to look out for while completing your assignments. So it behooves you to watch these videos so that you don't run into traps that previous students have run into and lost points. Okay, so for your week 1 assignments, you are to read chapter 1, your career in healthcare, chapter 2, current healthcare systems and trends. And then for your weekly discussion, your first post is due by Thursday, and the second post should be completed whenever you can, but must be completed by Sunday. I advise that you do it earlier than Sunday so that other people have a chance to respond and that you're not up against the time limit. So post on at least 3 separate days and total of at least 4 separate posts, and I will get into that when I cover it, the grading and the rubric. All right, so for your first response, chapter 1 discusses thinking like a healthcare professional. Now, when people answer this, they talk about acting like a healthcare professional, what they would do in a professional situation. That's not what this question is asking. It's asking you to think like a healthcare professional. And if you go into your reading in chapter 1, there's a whole paragraph that is titled Thinking Like a Healthcare Professional, and it provides several examples of thinking like a healthcare professional. So what we'd like to see in this discussion question is that you provide at least 3 examples of thinking like a healthcare professional, and tell me how you might incorporate it into your professional life. Then the question is also asking you to think of a time when you encountered someone or something unprofessional in the healthcare arena. Now, if you haven't seen anything unprofessional in the healthcare arena, I'm sure you've seen it elsewhere in retail or somewhere else. Any unprofessional event will suffice. But when you're providing the example, make sure that you're maintaining privacy so you're not putting out who it happened to. We want to maintain the privacy, and feel free to share the experience with class. The second response is review table 2-1, pages 39 through 45, which shows the history of healthcare. After reviewing the historical events of healthcare, which 3 events do you feel were most significant to healthcare overall in today's society? Which events do you feel are most beneficial to the patients? So I need 3 events that are significant to healthcare overall. Then I also need at least one event that was significant to the patient, not healthcare overall, but to the patient themselves. And then what are some of the current healthcare trends and challenges? And again, the book mentions some of the trends and challenges that are out there, so I'd like to see that. But I'd also like to see you think outside the box and talk about some of the trends and challenges you think we face, and then respond to your classmate or instructor. Now, if you are off track, I will try to bring you back on track so that you can see where you're having issues and try to keep you on track so you don't lose any points. If you're unfamiliar with APA, whenever you utilize someone else's information to make your point in writing, you must always cite that work. Number one, it gives the authors credit for the work that they have done and the research that they have done. And it also lets your reader know that you're utilizing somebody else's information to make your point. At minimum, with the discussion, you should be citing your textbook because you should be reading, using the material that you read from your textbook to answer these questions. And this is how you cite. The citation, Mitchell and Heron, 2017, in parentheses, follows any sentence that reflects information that you learned from the book All initial responses to the discussion questions require at least one reference. So, as I said, you should be taking the material that you read for the week and utilizing it in your discussion questions. So at minimum, you should have a citation from the textbook and a corresponding reference. So anytime you cite work, you always have to have a corresponding reference, which is also listed below right here. Okay, so that's how you reference it for this textbook. If you go outside of the textbook, there's, depending on what source you have, will depend on how you cite it and how you reference it. And if you have questions about that, there's a whole program resources section in Blackboard with an APA tab. I suggest that you review those resources so that you understand APA. If after reviewing that you still don't understand it, contact me and I will try to set up a one-on-one Kaiser Live session so that I can walk you through APA and try to help you understand it better. Okay, so the week 1 assignment is actually not due until the end of week 2. However, do not take that as I can wait 2 weeks to complete it. You should start working on the assignment now, get your rough draft together, and then you will need to submit it to the online writing lab, as we call it, the OWL, by the end of week 1. They will review your work, make their recommendations to make your paper better and help you to become a better writer. They will not write the paper for you, but they will try to help you. And then they will send you another email stating that with their recommendations. And when you get that email, forward it to me so that I have it for grading, and then review the recommendations that they made and incorporate them into your final draft for week 2. If you have any questions about this, please, please, please contact me. Okay, so first I'll go over the rubric, the grading rubric for the week 1 writing assignment. Okay, so first thing I look for is word requirement. Did you meet the 250 minimum words needed to write your paper? If you did, 50 points. If it's less than that, and it was at least 200 points, you'll receive 40 points. If it was below 200 and word count was at least 150, then you will receive 30 points. 5-step problem solving process. Did you identify the problem? Did you gather information? This is where a lot of people mess up. When you go out to gather information, you want to get as much information on that subject as possible so you can create alternatives. So for instance, if you are told that you have cancer, God forbid, you want to gather as much information on that cancer as possible, and then you're going to utilize that information. So maybe you go to the American Cancer Association, you talk to your doctor, you join a social group on Facebook who are dealing with cancer and how they deal with it. You take all that information and you create all your separate alternatives. Just brainstorm, create any alternative, no matter how crazy it sounds. Then weed the ones out that are not practical, and then you choose from those to choose your alternative and act upon it. Once you've done that, then you have to evaluate and revise. For evaluating and revise, I want to see how you're going to measure your success. Will it be the way you feel? Will it be by the doctor telling you that the cancer is gone? How are you going to evaluate whatever problem it is that you have, and how you plan to evaluate the choice of alternative? If that choice is not working out, how will you revise the alternative that you chose, or will you totally scrap it and choose a new alternative? So those are the things I'm looking for in this. You can earn up to 35 points. And if you're competent, the student included applied at least 4 of the 5 steps to their chosen problem, they can get 25 points. If the student included or applied 3 or less of the 5 steps chosen, then you'll earn 15 points. Now, I grade very heavily on spelling and grammar because you are documenting a medical record, which is a legal document. Not only that, if you misspell a word, it can be misinterpreted by the doctor or the nurse, which can result in a misdiagnosis, a bad treatment plan, and God forbid, catastrophic event. So, if your spelling and grammar is great, then you can earn up to 10 points. If it has 1 to 5 errors, 5 points. If it has more than 5 errors, 0 points. Now, remember, this is for the writing assignment. What I suggest, okay, so that's for the writing assignment. So make sure you're doing a spelling grammar check before you submit the paper, which will identify all your spelling and your grammatical errors, and you can change that. There's a video on how to perform that and how to change the errors if you're unfamiliar with the spelling grading check. Then the proof to the OWL. Your email that you send to me with the OWL's attachment of your submission form and your rough draft containing their recommendations will be what I use to see if you, 1, submitted it to the OWL, 2, if you incorporated the recommendations that they made. The whole reason you do this is to get their recommendations and put them into your paper. If you submit it and don't incorporate them into your paper, what was the sense in submitting it? So this is an all or nothing thing. You either get 5 points or you get 0 points. So make sure you send me the email when you get it back from the OWL. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Now, for week 1, you also have a quiz, so make sure you take the quiz. And that is a 2-hour time limit for 15 questions, so not undoable. Let me go to the rubric real quick. You will not have all this. Okay, so for the discussion rubric, okay, so what I'm going to look for your discussions is the quality of posts. Were you respectful? Were you reflective? And thoughtful in your post? Did your post contain, for answering the questions, 150 words or more? And then posts to your fellow students or to me must include at least 100 words or more. So I'm going to be looking for that, and depending on where you fall in the number of words and whether you were respectful and thoughtful will determine whether you get a fair, poor, good, or excellent. Relevance to the topic. If you are off topic, I will respond trying to get you and let you go, tell you where to go without telling you exactly where to go. I'll say, find the paragraph in chapter 1 that is titled blah, blah, blah. Then it's up to you to go back and find that information and respond to my post to get you back on track. But I also want to see that you're responding to your fellow students. So for this, if you make a clear reference to the assignment and answer the questions, 20 to 25 points. If not, then it goes down from there. Contribution to the discussion. Now this is where you need to be aware. If you meet the requirement of 4 separate posts on 3 separate days, you earn a grade of good for up to 19 points. That's just meeting the assignment. If you exceed the assignment by posting above and beyond the required number of posts, which means 5 separate posts or more on 3 separate days, you can earn up to 25 points. Spelling and grammar. Again, I grade heavily for spelling and grammar, as I said before. You can earn up to 20 points, and then I take off for the discussion points, 1 point per spelling or grammar error, so it goes down from there. APA, I need to see a citation and a corresponding reference in your writing. And so with this, what you need is just a citation and a corresponding reference. Now for the writing assignment, you need to have a separate title page, in-text citations in your body, and a separate reference page. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. All right, well, good luck for the week. And again, communication is key. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day.